Morning, guys. Happy Monday. Hope you had really good weekends. Did anyone find any geocaches? We went out and we managed to find a couple down Dens Lane, so they're definitely there. You might just have to do a little bit of hunting, a little bit of unearthing when you get there. I just wanted to pop on and I want to read you the next couple of chapters of Room 13. So we left Fliss having arrived at the hotel, and we had lots of connections between the hotel, the Crow's Nest in Whitby, and the Dream. So the fact that it was on all of those levels, and the level at the top with the unnamed room, which would of course been room 13. And we also had the iron gates with the bird where the paint had dripped, which we'd heard of before, hadn't we, in the Dream. So lots of connections. And then also extra little bits of information that the author's giving us about the view out of the window, which Fliss preferred at night. But of course she'd never been there at night, so how could she have preferred it? And the old lady in black, just a really simple description of this lady, but she's eliciting all these feelings. She's bringing out all these feelings of suspicion and mistrust. Who is she? Why is she there? Why is she looking up to the window? So lots of clues that have been dropped in. So we're going to start with chapter 7, pick up chapter 7, and they're just about to go off exploring. Okay. It was 3 o'clock when the children gathered on the pavement outside the hotel. There were 31 of them, and Mr. Hepworth split them into 2 groups of 10 and 1 of 11, with girls and boys in each group. Remember your group, he said, because we'll be in groups a lot of the time while we're here. Fliss found herself in Mrs. Evans' group, and to her disgust, Gary Bazzard was in there too. Gary was pretty disgusted himself because his best friend, David Trotter, had ended up in Mrs. Marriott's group. Lisa was in that group too. It was breezy, but sunny and quite warm. The groups set off at intervals, turning right and walking in twos down North Terrace towards Captain Cook's monument and the Whalebone Arch. I wonder why they went in intervals. Why would that, if you think of a big group, why would going at intervals would have been a good idea? I don't think. As they passed the shelter, Fliss saw that the old woman was still there. She was gazing towards the hotel and seemed to be talking to herself. The first group was looking at the monument, so Mrs. Evans led them to the arch. Now, can anybody tell me why there should be a whalebone arch at Whitby? She asked. Yes, Roger? For people to walk through, miss? Yes, Roger, I know it's for people to walk through, but why should it be made from whalebone? Anybody? Tara Madgett raised her hand. She was Fliss's partner. Miss, because there were whaling ships at Whitby in the olden days. That's right, Tara. And who knows why whales were valuable? Roger? Oil, miss. They used whale oil for margarines and lamps and that. And they used the bones for women's dresses, miss. That's right. Mrs. Evans shielded her eyes with her hand and squinted up at the arch. What part of the whale's skeleton is this arch made from, do you think? It's jawbone, miss, said Maureen. Right. And they've put something on top, haven't they? It looks like an arrow. Can anyone guess what that actually is? I think it might be something on top of the arch. Looks like an arrow. Everybody gazed up at the object, but nobody answered. After a moment, Mrs. Evans said, Well, I'm not absolutely sure, but it looks to me like the tip of a harpoon. An old-fashioned harpoon, the sort they threw by hand from the bows of a whaleboat, from the bows of a whaleboat, sorry. Who's read Moby Dick? Miss, I've seen Jaws on the telly. What on earth has that got to do with it, Richard Varley? Miss, nothing, miss. Then don't be so stupid, you silly boy. Nobody had read Moby Dick. Have a little, if you're not sure who Moby Dick is, have a quick look on the internet, see if you can find out who he was and why Miss Marriott decided to bring him up, why he was relevant. Mr. Hepworth's group was now approaching, so Mrs. Evans led Fliss and the others to Captain Cook's monument. They surrounded it, looking at the lengthy inscriptions on its plinth. Who can tell us something about Captain Cook? Miss, he had one arm and one eye. Rubbish, Michael Toscanini. That was Lord Nelson. Yes, Joanne? He had a peg leg, miss, and a parrot on his shoulder. That was Long John Silver, dear, a fictitious character. Mrs. Evans sounded tired. Why do you think at that moment she felt particularly tired, do you think? What was it about the reactions of her pupils that may have made her feel a little bit more exhausted at that point? And perhaps you can have a look and find out who Captain Cook is. Maybe you could have answered her question a bit more accurately. When they finished with Captain Cook, they went down a flight of stone steps onto a road called the Khyber Pass, and from there to the seafront. There, Mrs. Evans turned them loose for a while to join their classmates on the sand, while she sank on a bench which already supported her two colleagues. Fliss found Lisa at the water's edge. What do you think so far? Lisa pulled a face. Dead captains, dead whales, dead boring. Fliss laughed. It's okay down here though, isn't it? Lisa nodded. You bet. Let's find some flat pebbles and play at skimming.